Chapter 1. The Echoes of Confinement. As the sun dips below the towering walls of the maximum security prison, a somber symphony unfolds within. The clanging of metal doors and the distant echoes of guarded conversations create a haunting backdrop. Each sound is a reminder of the lives confined behind these cold bars, where humanity intertwines with isolation. In this stark landscape, a unique initiative has emerged. Inmates have embarked on a journey of self-expression through secret journals. These entries, filled with raw emotions and poignant reflections, offer an intimate glimpse into their daily struggles and unyielding hopes. Listeners are invited to step beyond the hardened facades and witness the stories that pulse beneath the surface, tales of regret, resilience, and the quest for redemption. Through this auditory tapestry, Behind the Bars, Whispered Stories sets the stage for a powerful exploration of the human spirit, weaving together voices that yearn to be heard and understood, even in the darkest of places. Chapter 2. Malik's Escape Through Poetry. Malik, the poet Johnson, sits in the dim light of his cell, pen in hand, as the world around him fades. His poetry serves as an escape, a vivid expression of his past struggles and the life he yearns to reclaim. Each line a heartbeat, each verse a breath, he recites with fervor, his voice echoing the raw emotions bottled within. My canvas was the streets, but now these walls confine, he writes, reflecting on the years spent creating art to uplift his community. The crime that led him here, an act of desperation to defend a loved one, still shadows him, yet the ink flows freely as he channels his pain into poignant verses. Malik's entries intertwine memories of freedom with dreams of redemption. Through his poetry, listeners glimpse the heart of a man craving not just release from prison, but liberation from the burdens of guilt and regret. Chapter 3. Letters to My Children. Sarah the Mother Green takes a deep breath as she opens her journal, the pages worn from countless reflections. Her entries are laced with bittersweet emotions, capturing the heart-wrenching reality of her separation from her children. Today, I wrote them each a letter, she begins, her voice trembling with longing. I tell them about the flowers I used to plant in our backyard, the way they would bloom in colors so vibrant, just like their laughter. She shares the struggles of addiction that led her to prison, a battle that has felt like a lifetime. I want to break this cycle, she writes fervently, detailing her participation in rehabilitation programs. Each letter to her kids is a promise, a vow to become the mother they deserve. Amid the confinement, Sarah clings to hope, envisioning a day when she can hold them close again and build a future free from the shadows of her past. Chapter 4. The Shift from Violence to Leadership. In the oppressive fluorescent light of the prison yard, Leo the Protector Reyes reflects on the choices that led him to this moment. Once deeply entrenched in gang life, he recalls the thrill of loyalty and the false sense of power it provided. His diary entries reveal a transformation sparked by the realization that violence only breeds more violence. He recounts the turning point that led him to mentor younger inmates, sharing lessons from his past mistakes. With each entry, Leo shares the challenges of leading a life devoid of the gang's camaraderie, battling the constant pull of his former friends still roaming the streets. He openly expresses his desire to give back to the community he once harmed, initiating youth programs within the prison walls. Through heartfelt reflections, Leo articulates the profound hope he has for a different future, one where understanding, guidance, and second chances prevail over conflict and despair. Chapter 5. The Pursuit of Knowledge. Emma. The scholar Xiong begins her diary entry with the quiet hum of fluorescent lights overhead, reminiscent of the laboratory she once dreamed of. I never thought my passion for science would lead me here, she writes, reflecting on the circumstances that brought her to prison for a crime of passion. Despite the stigma of being labeled a convict, her thirst for knowledge remains unquenched. She describes her love for learning, recounting how she devoured textbooks in the prison library, feeling the weight of each page as a step towards her dreams. Emma expresses her frustrations with societal pressures and the limiting beliefs placed upon individuals like her. Education is my escape, she declares, her words laced with determination. She visualizes a future where she can contribute to the world, using her experiences to fuel her ambition. In this confined space, Emma embodies the resilience of the human spirit, relentlessly pursuing her dreams. Chapter 6. The Prison's Silent Historian. Marcus, the historian Davis, sits in the quiet corner of the prison library, his sanctuary amidst concrete walls. With decades behind bars, he reflects on the evolution of this place, the changing moods, the faces of guards and inmates alike. His voice carries the weight of experience as he chronicles the stories etched into the very fabric of the prison. Time, he muses, is a relentless teacher. In his diary, he recounts the laughter that once echoed in the yard, now replaced by the somber routine of survival. Through his reflections, Marcus grapples with human nature and the choices that bind individuals to this life. He embraces the role of mentor, providing wisdom to younger inmates who seek purpose amidst their struggles. As he writes, he conjures a hope that understanding history can inspire change and that redemption is possible, even within these unforgiving walls. Chapter 7. Connection Across the Walls. As the days bleed into one another, the prison's stark confines give way to an unexpected camaraderie among the inmates. In this chapter, we dive into the daily life of Malik, Sarah, Leo, Emma, and Marcus, exploring how shared struggles foster profound connections. Malik often finds solace in reciting poetry aloud, his verses spiraling through the cell blocks like whispered secrets, drawing in listeners who resonate with his words. Sarah dedicates her letters to her children, to her fellow inmates, helping them understand the weight of motherhood and remorse. Leo shares his leadership skills through organized discussions, encouraging dialogue about change and resilience. Emma offers to tutor Marcus and others in science, sparking lively debates that challenge preconceived notions. Together, these diverse voices create a tapestry of support and hope, reminding each other that even behind bars, one's spirit can thrive through connection, understanding, and mutual respect. Chapter 8. Shadows of Regret. In the quietude of their cells, each inmate grapples with the echoes of their past. Malik's pen trembles as he writes about a moment of rage that led him to a fateful act, a decision that cost him his freedom. He reflects on lost opportunities, the friends he left behind, and the art he can no longer create. Sarah shares an unguarded entry, revealing the depths of her addiction and the heartache of watching her children suffer due to her choices. The pain lingers like a shadow, heavy yet familiar. Leo's thoughts drift to the lives he hurt while entrenched in gang life. He feels the weight of lives lost to violence, a burden he now bears as he strives for redemption. Emma revisits her impulsive act of passion, questioning her motives and the societal pressures that suffocated her dreams. Together, these reflections create a tapestry of regret, reminding them all of the fragile line between choices and consequences. Chapter 9. The Lockdown Begins. The sharp sound of alarms pierce the usual rhythm of prison life, signaling an unexpected lockdown. Malik felt his heart race as he scribbled in his journal, the words echoing his fear and confusion. What if they escape? What if something terrible happens? Sarah, in her cell, clutched her letters to her children, recalling their laughter, which now seemed miles away. I can't keep them safe from here, she wrote, her ink blurring with emotion. Leo's protective instincts kicked in. He rallied the younger inmates, urging them to stay calm. We faced worse, he reminded them, but the tremor in his voice betrayed his anxiety. Emma sought solace in her studies, struggling to concentrate while the atmosphere grew heavy with tension. Marcus watched the chaos unfold, whispering, "Fear is a cage too," as he chronicled the panic around him. Lockdown had turned their world upside down, but it also forged a newfound resolve to confront their shared reality. Chapter 10. Confronting Fears. As the lockdown descends upon the prison, a profound sense of unease fills the air. Malik feels the urgency of expression, his pen becoming a lifeline as he captures the cacophony of thoughts racing through his mind. In confinement, fear whispers louder than the walls, he writes, contemplating the choices that led him here. Sarah clutches her journal, pen trembling as she reflects on the distance between her and her children. Every moment apart feels like a lifetime, she confesses, her heart aching for their warmth. Leo stands at the crossroads of his past and present, questioning if his newfound purpose can withstand the pressures of the lockdown. Loyalty is a double-edged sword, he writes, grappling with the weight of old ties. Emma's voice rises amidst the chaos, her resolve strengthening. "Knowledge is my rebellion," she pens defiantly, vowing to continue her fight for a brighter future despite the uncertainty surrounding her. Each entry reveals their vulnerabilities, intertwining stories of fear and resilience as they face the unknown together. Chapter 11. The Fragility of Hope. As the hours stretch into days during the lockdown, the atmosphere within the prison feels dense and suffocating. Malik writes feverishly, his poetry now a lifeline, capturing fleeting moments of light in an otherwise darkened world. He ponders the fragility of hope, reflecting on how it flickers brightly even in the midst of chaos. In her letters, Sarah shares her fears about her children, but also the small joys that keep her spirit alive, emphasizing their resilience even from afar. Leo writes of the bond formed among inmates during the tension, shared glances, whispered reassurances that forge a community amid confinement. Emma's entries resonate with longing. She thinks of her future, clinging to the dream of education as her beacon. In this turmoil, each inmate's voice emerges softly but powerfully, harmonizing a collective yearning for freedom, connection, and a glimmer of hope against the overwhelming odds they face. Chapter 12. Moments of Reflection. As the lockdown deepens, the atmosphere in the prison thickens with tension and uncertainty. The inmates find solace in each other's company, whispering their fears and dreams. Malik uses this time to pen a poignant poem, capturing the flicker of hope amidst despair. Sarah, locked away from her children, reflects on her past decisions, vowing to fight harder for their future. Leo shares stories of his transformation, reminding others that change is possible, even in the darkest places. While Emma secretly studies by the dim light of her cell, her thirst for knowledge unquenched despite the circumstances. Marcus, acting as a veteran mentor, gathers younger inmates to discuss the choices that led them here, offering wisdom born from decades of reflection. In their shared vulnerability, they discover not just the weight of their regrets, but also the power of connection, illuminating the path toward redemption and a renewed sense of purpose. Chapter 13. The Aftermath of Chaos. As the lockdown comes to an end, the palpable tension that gripped the prison slowly dissipates. In the echoing silence of the aftermath, Malik writes of the fragility of life, contrasting his lofty dreams with the stark reality of confinement. He finds solace in poetry, his verses now tinged with new weight and urgency. Sarah reflects on the fear she felt when her children's faces flashed through her mind during the chaos, fueling her determination to overcome her addiction for their sake. Leo contemplates the choices that brought him to prison, realizing that true leadership arises from vulnerability and honesty. Marcus, with decades of wisdom, shares insights on resilience, urging younger inmates to channel their experiences into positive action. Together they recognize that the escape attempt redefined their understanding of survival, transforming their struggles into a united resolve, a commitment to forge paths of redemption and connection in a place where hope often flickers dimly.